Before we dive into this epic tale, I need you to hear me out. Earth is under attack. The Vehrk, a brutal alien race, are here to wipe us out. But humanity isn't about to go down without a fight. We are the Helljumpers, the last hope for the future of our planet. You think we'll just sit back and take it? No chance. We're about to bring the fight to the sky. But here's the deal. YouTube's algorithm isn't making it easy for stories like this to reach more people. I need your help. Smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts on humanity's odds against these aliens, and don't forget to hit subscribe with notifications on so you won't miss a single moment of this insane battle. Now, grab your gear, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. The night was supposed to be peaceful. The stars flickered like diamonds in a velvet sky, and the quiet hum of city life was a distant murmur. But then, everything changed. The first warning came not from a soldier, not from any intelligence network, but from the sky itself. A sound, deep, guttural, broke the silence, shaking the ground like a thunderclap. People rushed outside, eyes wide, searching the heavens. What they saw wasn't a meteor shower or a passing spacecraft, it was an invasion. "They're here," the general whispered into his comms, his eyes fixed on the massive shapes breaking through the atmosphere. "Brace yourselves." Earth had been warned. The Vehrk, a brutal and merciless alien empire, had arrived. They had obliterated worlds before. Entire civilizations had crumbled beneath their forces. The Vehrk believed that the weakest species would never fight back. And Earth had always been underestimated. The Earth's military had no answer. Humanity was outmatched, outgunned, and overwhelmed. The Vehrk had no reason to fear a primitive species. Earth had already begun to fall. Cities were reduced to ruins. Chaos spreading faster than anyone could comprehend. Humanity had no plan, no hope. But then, the sky split open again. "They're coming!" From the depths of Earth's military reserves, a squadron of human warriors, elite soldiers known as the Helljumper Division, descended from the sky like living meteors. They were Earth's last hope, and they were about to prove to the Vehrk that humans don't give up, not without a fight. The first drop pods hit the ground with thunderous force, creating craters in the city streets as the warriors emerged. Their black armor gleamed, sleek, almost alien in design, but there was no mistaking who they were. Earth's warriors had arrived. "Move out!" Captain Lena Reyes barked, her voice cutting through the static of their communication channels. She was the leader of the Helljumpers, an elite force trained for the impossible, forged from humanity's finest. Her eyes scanned the horizon, filled with nothing but rage and resolve. There was no time to waste. Earth's last line of defense had just landed. The Vehrk didn't expect this. The warriors moved fast, efficient, silent, and deadly. Each soldier was a specialist. Demolitions experts, snipers, engineers, medics. They were humanity's elite, trained for the worst-case scenario, and now they had to make the impossible possible. "Enemy contact 50 meters!" shouted Private Carter, his rifle crackling to life as he fired into the advancing Vehrk forces. Massive, insect-like creatures, their armored bodies towering over human soldiers, advanced with purpose. They had come for total annihilation. And yet they didn't realize they had underestimated human ingenuity. Boom. The Earth shook again. But this time, it wasn't the aliens' technology. The humans had deployed their own tech, a series of EMP bombs designed to cripple the alien invaders. The sky lit up with blue flashes, and the aliens' sophisticated shields flickered. Now the warriors had the upper hand. "Do you see that?" Lena muttered to herself, watching as the Vehrk lines began to stagger, their momentum faltering. "They thought we would fall. We'll show them why they were wrong," she signaled her team forward. This was humanity's moment, and they were going to make the most of it. As the battle raged on, the warriors continued to land, unit after unit, shattering the alien lines. But this was just the beginning. The Vehrk might be stunned, but their main force was still waiting, and Earth's warriors knew it wasn't over. The question now wasn't whether humanity could survive the invasion. It was how much the Vehrk were willing to lose before they realized that humanity would never give up. All units, prepare for the second wave. Lena's voice cut through the chaos, cold and calculating. The Helljumpers were only getting started. Just as the warriors began to regroup, something shifted in the atmosphere. A new, even larger threat was descending from the sky. Much more massive than anything the Vehrk had unleashed. A giant ship, unlike anything humanity had ever seen, began to orbit Earth. The Vehrk's true weapon had arrived, and it was something even the Helljumpers weren't ready for. "This isn't over," Lena whispered. "The real fight begins now." The heart of the storm, the ground trembled beneath their boots as the warriors of Earth's Helljumper division pushed forward, each step a testament to humanity's unyielding determination. Their mission was clear: destroy the alien invaders. But with the arrival of the massive alien command ship in orbit, their mission had just become a whole lot more complicated. Captain Lena Reyes glanced up at the sky, her helmet visor reflecting the chaos unfolding. The ship, so vast it blocked out the sun, hovered menacingly, casting an ominous shadow over the battlefield. The Vehrk, stunned by the arrival of Earth's warriors, had begun to regroup. But now, the real challenge had revealed itself. They weren't expecting this, Lena muttered, her voice tight with resolve. But they'll learn the hard way. The battlefield had become a maelstrom of laser fire and explosions. The Vehrk swarm battling ferociously as Earth's warriors carved through, their ranks with relentless precision. But the Vehrk commander was no fool. As their front lines faltered, the aliens unleashed a new weapon, a massive mech warrior, an incredibly advanced combat machine capable of laying waste to anything in its path. "It's coming right for us," shouted Sergeant Alex Carter, his voice filled with urgency. He crouched behind a demolished vehicle, his rifle aimed at the mech as it advanced, its glowing red eyes piercing through the smoke-filled air. "We need to take that thing down now," Lena barked, her gaze locked on the giant machine as it trampled the battlefield, obliterating anything in its path. She raised her hand to signal the team forward, but as she did, an explosion rocked the ground, far too close. "Take cover," Lena dove behind a wall of wreckage, barely avoiding the blast. As dust and debris settled, her heart raced. The mech was now only 100 meters away, and it had locked onto their position. Its massive arm cannons hummed with energy, ready to fire. "We can't keep dodging this thing forever," Lena muttered to herself, her mind racing. The Helljumpers needed a plan, a way to take down this mechanized nightmare before it wiped. "Them all out! Incoming!" shouted Private Carter. The mech's cannons roared to life, sending another volley toward their position. The ground exploded as Earth's warriors scattered, dodging fire and using any cover they could find. "Carter, get to the EMP device," Lena ordered, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Now! We need to shut it down!" Carter nodded and sprinted, his feet pounding the cracked earth. He dodged another blast from the mech and reached the EMP launcher, a small portable device capable of disrupting the mech's systems. But there was no time for hesitation. The alien machine was closing in, its cannons aimed directly at them. "Move, move, move!" Lena shouted, rallying her team. "We hit it with everything we've got!" The Helljumpers surged forward using hit-and-run tactics to disable the mech. Grenades, EMP shots, and rifle fire filled the air. But the mech was relentless. It shrugged off every hit, its thick armor barely dented. "EMP's ready, Captain," Carter yelled over the comms, his voice full of grit and determination. Lena nodded sharply. "Do it, Carter! Now!" With a roar, Carter activated the device. A massive pulse of energy shot from the launcher, sending ripples through the air. For a moment, the battlefield held its breath. Then the mech's movement slowed, its systems flickering as it struggled to stay operational. "We've got it!" Lena shouted. "Now finish it!" With the mech momentarily disabled, the Helljumpers poured everything they had into it, high-powered explosives and coordinated strikes. The machine faltered, its massive legs buckling as it collapsed to the ground with a deafening crash. The warriors cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. "Heads up! Incoming alien reinforcements!" shouted Lieutenant Mia Torres. From above, a fleet of Vehrk dropships descended, their weapons blazing. The real war had just begun. Lena clenched her fists. They thought we were weak. They thought we wouldn't fight back. But now, they're about to find out what humanity's made of. As the Helljumpers took positions, preparing for the next wave of the alien onslaught, Lena's scanners beeped furiously. She glanced down to see a massive energy reading. Something wasn't right. "What the hell is that?" she muttered, eyes narrowing as she scanned the sky. From the shadows of the alien fleet, a new, even larger ship was descending, a superweapon unlike anything they had seen before. The superweapon descends. The ground was still shaking from the massive explosion caused by the mech's destruction, but Lena Reyes didn't have time to breathe. The air was thick with smoke, and the distant sound of alien artillery rumbled in the background. She stood, fists clenched, watching as the Vehrk superweapon descended from the sky. It was immense, casting a dark shadow over the battlefield. The alien ship had a sleek, angular design, unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. Its massive guns were already charging, and the energy readings from Lena's scanners were off the charts. "It's too powerful for us to take head-on," Lena said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "We need to find a way to disable its weaponry before it wipes us out." The Helljumpers, still recovering from the mech battle, formed ranks behind her. They were exhausted, bloodied, and bruised, but there was no time to rest. "Captain, I've got a plan." "Private Carter," said, his voice sharp despite the fatigue. He was crouched over a damaged console, his fingers flying across the controls. "I can't guarantee it'll work, but if I can get a team inside that ship and disable their primary reactor, we might have a chance to take it down from the inside." Lena turned to him, her expression unreadable. "And you think you can make it inside that thing alive?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but Carter could hear the underlying doubt. The superweapon wasn't just a ship, it was an impenetrable fortress, guarded by the fiercest Vehrk soldiers and the most advanced technology Earth had ever faced. Carter stood up, locking eyes with her. "If I don't try, we won't make it. I'm the best shot we've got." Lena nodded. "All right, you've got one shot. I'll give you cover. But if you're not back in 30 minutes, we're going in without you." Carter's face softened. For a brief moment. "Understood." He turned to his team. "You know the drill. We stick together or we don't make it out of this." The Helljumpers split into two teams. Carter's squad would infiltrate the superweapon, while Lena's squad would provide cover fire and distract the Vehrk forces long enough for Carter to complete his mission. As the teams began their preparations, Lena's comms buzzed. "Captain, we've got massive reinforcements incoming from the alien fleet. They're not giving us any breathing room." "We don't need breathing room," Lena snapped, her gaze hardening. "We've got one chance to stop them. Make it count." The Helljumpers moved out, their mission clear. Lena's team engaged the Vehrk forces in a brutal firefight, using their guerrilla tactics to keep the alien forces distracted. Meanwhile, Carter's team infiltrated the massive alien vessel, climbing through the ruins of the city to reach the ship's landing bay. "They're here," Private Torres muttered, her hand gripping the edge of her rifle. "I can hear them. The Vehrk are everywhere." The landing bay doors opened with a hiss, revealing the heart of the superweapon, a vast, glowing control center, surrounded by walls of metal and alien machinery. Carter motioned for his squad to advance, keeping low and moving silently through the corridors. "We've got to make it to the reactor room," Carter said, his voice barely a whisper. "Stay sharp. If we get caught, boom!" The ground beneath them shook violently as the superweapon unleashed a devastating blast. "They're trying to destroy the city," Torres shouted, her face grim. "We need to hurry." Carter nodded. "Keep moving." As they neared the reactor core, the team encountered resistance. The Vehrk soldiers were waiting for them, positioned behind walls and alien barricades, ready to ambush them. Carter's squad fought through the resistance, their weapons blazing as they cleared their way. "This way," Carter shouted, leading them to the reactor room's entrance. But just as they approached, a massive Vehrk commander appeared, blocking their path. It was a towering, armored figure, a living weapon. "Back off, human." The Vehrk commander's voice was cold, a low growl. "You are too late." Carter raised his rifle, the targeting system locking onto the alien's chest. But just before he fired, Torres shouted, "Get back, Carter, it's a trap!" The Vehrk commander lunged, his massive weapon striking the ground between them. The team scattered, but Carter was too close. The alien's sword sliced through the air, narrowly missing Carter's face. "We need to fall back," Carter yelled. But the alien pressed forward, its strength overwhelming them. "I've got this!" Lena's voice crackled over the comms. The sound of a jetpack activating echoed in the background. "Carter, you're not doing this alone." As Lena's Helljumper unit stormed the ship, guns blazing, they finally reached the reactor room. With one final explosive charge, the Helljumpers breached the chamber, sending a wave of fire through the alien ship. The superweapon would either be destroyed or Earth would be lost. But the Vehrk commander wasn't done yet. He had one final weapon hidden deep inside the superweapon. Something even Carter didn't see coming. The final gambit. The superweapon's core hummed with intense energy as the Helljumpers moved through its alien halls, their weapons raised and their eyes scanning every corner for threats. The battle had raged for hours, and the city they'd fought to protect now lay in ruins. But the real fight wasn't over yet. Earth's warriors were about to face something far worse than they had ever imagined. "Carter, get to the control room." Lena shouted over the comms. Her voice was filled with urgency but also determination. "The core is about to overload. We need to shut it down now." Carter nodded, leading his squad deeper into the ship. The Vehrk commander they'd encountered earlier had been only the beginning. What they had stumbled upon was something far more dangerous. A massive alien device designed not just to destroy Earth, but to reshape the galaxy itself. They had one chance to stop it. If they failed, humanity would be lost. "We're almost there." Carter gritted his teeth as he led the squad down a narrow corridor lined with alien symbols. The walls seemed to pulse with an eerie glow, like the heartbeat of the ship itself. They were closing in on the reactor room, but as they neared the door, a loud thud echoed through the hall. "Get ready!" Carter shouted. He spun around just in time to see a wave of Vehrk warriors rushing toward them, their weapons drawn, their eyes filled with murderous intent. The air crackled with tension as both sides prepared for a final, desperate confrontation. The Helljumpers fired first, sharp, precise shots that took down the front ranks of the Vehrk warriors. But the aliens pressed on, their numbers overwhelming. Carter's team, though battle-hardened, found themselves on the defensive. "We're not losing this fight." Lena's voice came through the comms, a powerful command cutting through the chaos. "Helljumpers, fall back to the reactor." The Helljumpers pushed forward, using every ounce of training and skill they had. The Vehrk's relentless assault forced them back, but they managed to clear a path to the reactor room. "They've got us cornered," Sergeant Alex Carter said, his face grim. He could hear the pounding of alien feet behind them. Their ammunition was running low. They needed a solution, and fast. "We've got one shot at this," Lena said, her voice calm. "The EMP pulse. Get to the main conduit and trigger it." "Understood," Carter replied. He motioned for the team to advance, but as they moved toward the reactor's core, a new shadow loomed over them. A massive, monstrous Vehrk war machine. It was unlike anything they had seen before, a towering monstrosity of armor, claws, and weapons, with glowing red eyes that seemed to burn through them. The superweapon wasn't just a ship, it was the heart of the Vehrk invasion, and it had a guardian. "We don't have much time," Carter said, his voice low and strained. "We take it down now, or Earth's fate is sealed." The massive war machine unleashed a barrage of fire that sent the Helljumpers scattering. The ground shook with each explosion as the warriors tried to flank it. their bullets bouncing harmlessly. Off its thick armor. "Cover me!" Carter shouted. "I'm going for the pulse!" He charged toward the heart of the reactor room, dodging blasts and ducking behind alien structures. The war machine was still advancing, its claws slashing through anything in its path. It was clear. They needed to destroy it now, or it would destroy them first. As Carter reached the pulse conduit, he set the device with trembling hands. His squad covered him, unloading everything they had into the war machine. But the Vehrk, Guardian, was relentless, each movement more destructive than the last. "Carter, we need that EMP pulse now," Lena shouted, fear creeping into her voice. Carter's heart raced as he activated the device. A massive EMP pulse shot out, sending shockwaves through the reactor. The Vehrk war machine froze, its systems glitching as the energy pulse hit it. Its bladed claws trembled and fell to the ground with a heavy thud. "It's not over yet," Lena's voice rang through Carter's comms. "We've got to finish this." The war machine sputtered, its glowing eyes flickering like dying embers. But just as Carter took a breath, the final twist came. A second. Even. Larger warship appeared in the sky above them, larger than anything they had faced before. The alien fleet wasn't just here to conquer Earth, they had bigger plans. Earth was just the first step. "This isn't a victory," Carter whispered, watching the new ship loom overhead. "It's the beginning of something much worse." The ground shook as massive beams of light shot down from the new warship. A loud, deafening sound filled the air, and the sky turned an unnatural shade of red. The battle for Earth wasn't over. It had only just begun. "This isn't over, Carter," Lena's voice came through the comms. "We need to stop it, or all is lost." The last stand. The sky burned. The new alien warship hovered above, its massive form blocking out the stars. Its guns glowed with deadly energy, aimed directly at Earth's surface. The battle for humanity's survival had only just begun, and the Helljumpers knew that unless they acted fast, it would be their last fight. "We need a plan. Now!" Lena's voice rang out, cutting through the chaos of the battlefield. "Carter, what's the status on the EMP pulse?" Carter, still panting from his close encounter with the Vehrk war machine, glanced at the device he had deployed earlier. The EMP had disabled the war machine for now, but it was clear that wasn't enough to stop the alien fleet. The new warship was even more powerful, and the Helljumpers were outgunned. "The EMP was effective," Carter said, his voice low, almost exhausted. "But this ship is beyond our tech. I need more time to figure out how to take it down, but..." "Time is something we don't have," Lena interrupted, her eyes scanning the sky as another blast from the alien ship sent shockwaves through the ground. "We've got one shot at this, and if we don't stop them now, they'll wipe us out. One city at a time." Lena turned to her team, her voice steady but commanding. "We fight smart. We don't charge in blind. We make them think we're weaker than we are, and then we hit them where it hurts." The Helljumpers, though exhausted and battered, nodded in agreement. "Understood, Captain." They had trained for this, facing impossible odds and unpredictable enemies. They weren't just Earth's warriors. They were its last hope. "Carter, I need you to get me access to their main shield system," Lena ordered, her eyes focused on the massive warship. "We disable that, and we can hit them where it counts." Carter raised his eyebrows. "The shields are practically indestructible, Lena. I can't guarantee I'll get through to their systems." Lena locked eyes with him. "If we don't try, they win, and humanity loses. I need you to trust me on this." Carter didn't hesitate, he nodded. "I'm in." The final assaulters Carter worked on hacking into the alien shield systems. Lena and the rest of the Helljumpers prepared for their final assault. They knew the odds were against them, but if there was any chance of survival, it was in their hands. "You've got 10 minutes, Carter," Lena said. She glanced up at the looming warship, its guns now charging again, ready to fire. "We're going to make sure they don't get another shot." Lena led her team forward, using the city's ruins as cover. They had to stay mobile and unpredictable, drawing the Vehrk's fire long enough for Carter to get the job done. As they advanced, the sound of alien warships landing and deploying troops filled the air. The Vehrk weren't going to give up easily. They had overwhelming numbers. Lena could see the terror in her team's eyes, but she refused to let it show. Fear was the enemy's weapon, not theirs. "Keep your heads down," Lena shouted, her rifle kicking back as she fired into the incoming swarm of Vehrk soldiers. They were fast, deadly, and relentless. But Earth's warriors were used to facing impossible odds. Suddenly, explosions rocked the ground. The Vehrk had activated some kind of bunker-busting weapon. The blast sent debris flying, but the Helljumpers held their ground, returning fire with unmatched precision. Each shot was a statement. Humanity wasn't giving up without a fight. Meanwhile, Carter was deep inside the enemy warship's control room, his fingers flying over the alien console. Come on," he muttered to himself. "Just a little longer." "They're getting closer," Private Torres shouted from the comms. "They're breaking through our lines." "Stay focused," Lena yelled back. "We've got to hold them off long enough for Carter to finish. Don't let them take us." The alien warship's massive guns powered up again. The Helljumpers were out of time. They were close, too close to failing. "Carter, I need that access now!" Lena's voice cracked through the comms, a note of desperation creeping in. "Almost there." "Got it!" Carter shouted triumphantly. Suddenly, a massive shockwave rocked the battlefield as the superweapon's shields flickered. The EMP pulse had worked, but not enough. "This isn't it, Carter," Lena shouted, her eyes wide. "The shield's back online." The Vehrk commander had anticipated them. The ship's power was restored, and now they had mere seconds before. "Earth's last stand was obliterated. We need another EMP now," Lena shouted. The fall and the rise. The city was in ruins. Earth's warriors had held their ground, but they had only minutes left before the Vehrk unleashed their final attack. The alien warship loomed overhead, its guns charged and ready to fire, aiming to obliterate what was left of humanity's defenses. Lena Reyes, captain of the Helljumper division, stood at the front lines, her helmet cracked, her suit covered in the dust and debris of the ruined city. Her team was battered, exhausted, but they were still standing. They weren't giving up. "Carter, where are we with that EMP?" Lena's voice was low but urgent. "We need that thing disabled, now." Inside the alien warship, Carter was hunched over a console, sweat dripping down his face. He had already disrupted the Vehrk's shield system once, but the aliens had quickly restored it. The battle had become a race against time, and he had no choice but to try again, this time with everything he had left. "Almost there, Captain," Carter said, his voice strained. "I just need a few more seconds. If I can bypass their core system, we might be able to shut it down for good." Outside, the Vehrk's reinforcements had arrived. More ships, more soldiers. They were closing in. Lena turned to face her team, the weight of the situation pressing down on her shoulders. "We hold them off until Carter finishes this. This is it. We win or we die trying." The Helljumpers didn't need any more convincing. They were already in motion, setting up their final line of defense. Explosives, shields, and sniper positions were quickly set, every soldier knowing what was at stake. "Remember, we don't just fight for us," Lena said, voice resolute. "We fight for Earth. We fight for our families, for every single person still alive on this planet." The ground shook beneath them as the Vehrk unleashed another barrage of fire, and the Helljumpers returned fire with everything they had. They fought with every ounce of strength they had left, knowing that this was their last chance. Meanwhile, inside the warship, Carter's fingers flew over the controls as the alien system's defenses fought him every step of the way. "I've got access to the core," Carter shouted into his comms. "If I can just—" But suddenly the entire ship shuddered. "What the hell?" Carter muttered, looking up. A new Vehrk general had arrived, a massive figure, his body clad in armored plating that glowed ominously. "Carter, you need to—" "Finish it now!" Lena's voice broke through the comms, panic creeping into her tone. "The aliens are sending reinforcements. We can't hold them much longer." Carter's heart pounded as the Vehrk general advanced. He had to move. Humanity's survival was riding on this. With one final move, Carter activated the EMP. The entire ship went silent as the pulse rippled through the Vehrk technology, disabling the shields and weapons with a deafening roar. The ship lost power, but just as the Helljumpers began to regroup, the Vehrk general launched an attack. Lena's squad was caught in a deadly trap. Alien soldiers stormed their position, and the last push came down to one final gamble. "Get to the ship!" Lena shouted, rallying her team. "We finish this now!" The Helljumpers raced forward, knowing their fate, and the fate of Earth rested in their hands. The rise of humanity. The battlefield was silent, the kind of quiet that only came after an all-out war. The remnants of the Vehrk superweapon lay smoldering in the distance, its once mighty form now a heap of twisted metal and scorched alien technology. The Vehrk fleet had been decimated, and the ground that had once been scarred by explosions and fire was now eerily still. "It's over," Lena Reyes whispered, standing tall amidst the wreckage. Her armor was scorched, her body bruised and battered, but she felt an overwhelming sense of relief. The Helljumpers stood in formation around her, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and pride. They had fought through the impossible, and now Earth's elite warriors had done what they were sent to do. They had saved the planet. "It's over." "We won," Lena repeated, though it still felt surreal. Humanity didn't just survive. We won. The alien invaders had underestimated them, and in the end, it was their resilience, strategy, and the sheer will to survive that had turned the tide. Earth's warriors had fallen from the sky, not as saviors, but as soldiers, each with a personal mission, each willing to sacrifice everything for the future of humanity. But even as Lena stood amidst the wreckage of their victory, she knew the cost had been steep. They had lost too many along the way, teammates, brothers in arms, who would never be able to return to the world they had fought to save. "We've lost too many," Carter said, his voice quiet as he looked out across the devastated battlefield. His eyes were filled with the weight of their shared experience. "But it was worth it." Lena turned to face her squad. "We've won the war, but now it's time to rebuild." The final moments. The Vehrk general, the final piece of the alien invasion, had been taken down, but not before launching one last, desperate attempt to bring Earth to its knees. That final attack, a massive energy beam aimed directly at Earth's capital, had been intercepted by Earth's military fleet, but it was the Helljumpers who had made sure that the invaders' fleet could never threaten Earth again. "Earth is ours," Lena said, her voice strong, filled with the weight of their victory. "We fought for this, and now we rebuild." She glanced at her team, each of them battle-worn but unbroken. Humanity had faced the ultimate test, and the Helljumpers had passed it. The alien ships, now wreckage, drifted across the atmosphere, their weapons silenced, their threat finally extinguished. The sky had returned to its natural state, but the memory of the battle, the courage of every soldier who had fallen, would live on in the hearts of the survivors. Lena looked up at the sky, her thoughts with those who had sacrificed their lives. "We owe them everything." Then, without a word, she turned toward her squad. "Let's go home." A new dawn days passed. The reconstruction of Earth began, the cities slowly rebuilt, and the soldiers who had survived were honored as heroes. But for Lena and her team, the work was just beginning. Humanity had endured, but it would take time for them to heal from the scars of war. "We didn't just fight for survival," Carter said, standing beside Lena at the memorial service for their fallen comrades. "We fought for something bigger. We fought for the future." Lena nodded. "And we've got a long way to go, but we'll get there." The Helljumpers had won, but their fight wasn't over. The Vehrk were defeated, but the universe was vast, and Earth had just proven that humanity was far from weak. In fact, they had just begun to show the galaxy what they were capable of. This is just the beginning, Lena said as the sun began to rise over a newly rebuilt city. We may have fallen from the sky, but we will rise again, stronger than ever. And just like that, humanity stood victorious. The aliens came, they saw, and they underestimated us. But Earth's warriors, our Helljumpers, fought back and showed the universe what we're really made of. Now, the question remains. What's next for humanity? Will we continue to rise, or will new challenges emerge? But here's the truth. This channel needs your help to keep these epic battles coming. You've just witnessed a new chapter in the fight for Earth. But the war is far from over. If you want to hear more badass stories where humanity fights back, I need you to do something that takes 5 seconds but changes everything. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment from this chapter, or what you think will happen next. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the next battle. This is HFY Genesis, and together we rise. Until next time, we endure.